and we're live. Oh man, guys, welcome back. It feels so good to be back. Seriously speaking, it's been a few trying months out there for most of us. But it's part of life. It's part of growing. It's part of learning, and it's part of what I always say. You need to move on. If you find you're stuck at a particular point, just hold your head up high and move on, man. Welcome, Caesar, man. Nice to see you, man.
Yo, sir, man.
It's nice to see you, man.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, man. It's been too long. And so this is Venez Radio, where we come together, have a conversation about serious stuff, not so serious stuff, maybe serious stuff, maybe stuff that nobody cares about. But we just put it in a conversation form and roll with it and try and get as much information as possible and share that with the audience. Always remaining neutral, never drawing conclusions to anything, because life is not concluded, man. I'll tell you something as I digress a bit. I've never believed in a lesson which I've been taught since I was in primary school, all the way secondary, even my day-to-day life. People always teach history. Then they say that, what is that saying about history?
So many.
The most obvious one, where they say, if you don't know your history, something like that.
Mwacha mila ni mtumwa.
Yeah, something like that. But now the English version. If you don't know your history, then you don't have a purpose or something like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So,
okay. Honestly speaking, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably even why we are doing this.
Yeah.
Because the knowledge that I have, the knowledge that you have, is something that people don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? We might even say things that are probably like the same to the mind thought that a lot of people see. You're not being here. My cat. Yeah.
The cat wants part of the production.
But like for real though, sharing is caring, and that's the biggest purpose why we're doing this, because we don't know whether we are right or wrong.
Yeah.
Life.
True.
Yeah, but at least we're just sharing what we believe is something that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But now back to your topic. Yeah.
History and is all history relevant?
Yeah, is it though? Because honestly speaking, how do you know that what you have been told before is truthfully?
Yeah. What happened?
Exactly. How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know? How can you like just hold on.
Yeah.
How can you know that Christopher Columbus was the first person from Europe even, or like from anywhere to actually access through oceans to get to another land and discover it? How do you know that? Because if you look at other history, apart from the history that we have been taught, like when you just listen to another story, you'll come to realize, oh my God, you guys had boats. Like literally 50 years before the Europeans had boats. So that can
it's
literally change
years.
the whole narrative. You know what I mean? Like,
it's probably 50,000 years or
basically,
more.
History is basically like Instagram.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna give it like a vibe like Instagram. I'm sorry. Because it's like what you see and what you're told, and what is trending is what you believe.
It's what you believe. So,
you don't even know what it is.
Yeah. So I think we'll just kick it out. He's out. Messing up.
But it would have been easy.
So for me, I look at history like sort of like it's that boring uncle or auntie who comes to the family reunion, and they always have this story about back in our day. Nobody gives a fuck about that shit. We are in this day.
No, actually, okay, I don't know. Let me just give my.
That's how I take it.
You see, those uncles, Bana. It's important because me, I didn't live during that time.
Yeah.
I would want to hear how it was, like when they were doing their thing, like because they always come with the coolest stories. They always tell you the stories about your mom that you never knew about your mom. Like, yo.
No, I'm talking about life lessons. I'm not talking about like
even
the
life
story
lessons,
that...
even life lessons.
Like,
Like,
I'm
for
thinking
instance...
about, like, if you're coming to me with a life lesson
Yeah.
and you're telling me, like, back in our day, that back in your day is relevant back in your day. What was relevant then cannot, and in most cases, I think, would not be relevant right now. Times have changed, the different ways of doing things. So my argument basically is that history is just that, history, and should remain as history. If you want to be a history buff and find out some stuff, probably good idea. Go out there.
There's a good
find out
point
some-
you've made
yeah.
right now, but I have a very different mentality
Tell me.
to it. With regard to, I know history should remain history,
Yeah.
but the reason why we should not accept or like listen to or understand what came before us.
Yeah,
Me, I have this mentality.
yeah,
If you're going to understand what's happening now,
yeah,
you have to know where it came from
yeah,
first. Not even first, like it's important
Yeah.
to know that where I am
Yeah.
right now is because of something that happened before me.
True.
Now, if I'm supposed to even have better knowledge and
Yeah.
understand what's going on now, I have to first of all also understand where it's coming from.
yeah. So
You get?
yes, now, good one now. So when we say that history repeats itself, does knowing about the history help in the fact that it repeats itself, or how does that work? How does-
Extremely. Actually, I don't know if you have another perspective, but that is actually the basic point.
Yeah.
If you know that history repeats itself,
Yeah.
especially with regard to culture,
Yeah,
right? Things that we cannot get out of our Inuit self, like, it's culture, right? That's basically what it
Now,
repeats
this
itself.
is what-
But with regard to like innovation,
yeah,
innovation doesn't repeat itself. It continues going.
Yeah.
You get? But culture is basically, I think, where you are talking about like repeating itself.
Yeah.
And with regard to culture, if it repeats itself, understanding also
Yeah.
where we are coming from
Yeah.
even helps you appreciate better what the young people are doing. For real though.
So
you
can
see
we be
this
in agreement?
divide of, man, Sai, why are you 35 and you're listening to trap music? Hawa watu wa trap bana. Ni watu you are high school bana. Unasikiaje gengeton? My guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how
I don't know any of those types of music.
Nah, yeah. But no. But like for real though.
not that
For real though.
enlightened. I'm
Understanding
not that
understanding that
But continue.
things like culture
Yeah.
repeat themselves and they come
Yeah.
from somewhere
Yeah.
will also make you even understand better where that sound is. Like you'll be like, yo man, damn, I can hear some raga. I can hear some dancehall. I can hear some buju in that. I can hear some conscience in that.
So-
Like I can hear where it's coming from. It makes me even appreciate it even more better than, I don't know, someone who didn't even know like the origins of it.
Yeah, you see, like, I'm not against history, but then if we're gonna go with the notion that history repeats itself, I just like, just for those of you who are new here, I like controversy and I like
Conspiracies.
not conspiracies per se. I don't believe in conspiracies. I don't follow. I like a challenge, and I like to challenge something. So when we talk about history repeats itself, I'm looking at it on the aspect that if we didn't learn the history, then there would be nothing to repeat, and we would just simply be continuous.
Hey Jack, I would like to say a little bit of something about that, because I've had it like, I feel like I've had it over and over and over and over. I'm one of those people who believe in this, like, you're gonna get some money or something of the sort, you see? And this year is the year I've actually had that shit, like, history repeats itself so many times.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, what I decided upon when I had that statement was that in my life, specifically, history does repeat itself.
Yeah.
Like, in this life, you're given a chance, like, as an individual, you're given opportunity to, like, make your life something of the sort.
Yeah.
Or so when I've had that shit,
Yeah.
it's cause like in my own life, I've not made changes.
Yeah.
In places that I specifically had to make changes in.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that have repeated themselves.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, you're in the same position again. Okay,
Yeah.
this is now my brain just doing its thing. So it's like, you're in the same position again. What the fuck? But
what the fuck?
history
Why is it?
repeats itself.
It repeats itself over and over again,
has just
such
made
that,
me-
and for me, what I was saying about that, we don't need to learn history if it has a tendency of repeating itself.
Yeah.
And that's just me, because I'm a controversial type of person. So I confront things which, to somebody, something which is probably very, very simple. I try and make it not so simple. I try and complicate it a bit, and just try and figure out why is it that we are destined, bound to repeat history in terms of culture, in terms
It's
of
because we forget
choices,
history.
in terms of, it's because we forget.
We forget history. So, I feel like the times that we forget about what has ever happened to us is because we are striving to be better.
Yeah.
So you put that shit behind you, like you learn what is actually holding you back, and you go.
Yeah.
And also, it's because why else would you not just relate to history?
You know, for me, I'm looking at it from this point of view, is that anyone who's teaching you about history, or any book about history, can even throw the Bible in that for the religious guys. But anybody who writes this information from their perspective, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. So when we go back and say that history repeats itself, we are talking about something which was someone's particular point of view at that particular point in time when they were writing about it. I'm just going to talk about like the Bible, and they were talking about all these things. I always bring up the Bible. Have you ever realized
It's
that?
cool, man. It's cool, man. It's a
like-
really good point of reference. It's a very good historical.
It's like
Yeah.
I always find a way to attack the Bible.
Nah, it's cool.
Not
No, because it's one
No,
book
I
that
do.
has been read
I
by
do.
everyone, though.
I do attack it. I've read the book 3 times,
Yeah.
cover to cover.
It's important to do that.
I've tried and make sense of it, but what comes out of it for me is that, because it's sort of like a history book, is that it was somebody's perspective who gave us this history,
That's
that
very
notion. Yeah. So
But hold on.
Not only one person, remember.
It's a lot of people.
we are
a
made
lot
to
of
think.
people. So
Yeah,
wait,
we're
how
made
can
to think
you-
that it's a lot of people, but then there's somebody who did the editing to put all those together. He would have omitted some really
Can I say
crucial
something?
stuff.
Can I
right?
say something?
Yeah.
First of all, true, because that's another even issue.
Yeah.
It's like the broken telephone.
Yeah, because
vibe,
how many
because
books were
of,
not
like,
put in there
interpretation
which were
and
nominated
like from
to be put in?
because the original text was
Yeah.
written in another. It was written in Hebrew,
It was written
then translated
exactly.
to Latin,
Yeah.
and then from Latin to English,
Yeah.
Old English,
Yeah.
and then from Old English to New English.
Oh, where we are talking about
which
thou.
is now like thou shalt.
Me like that
You
thou
get what I mean?
stuff.
There is
by
a
the way.
lot of translation that has
I
happened.
think we should make a comeback
which
on that.
makes it like get lost telephone, you know, the broken
Yeah.
telephone vibe,
Yeah.
yeah. But also,
Yeah.
there is the vibe of the Bible. Also, is one book that talks about history.
Yeah,
There is a million.
yeah,
Trust me, I don't even think a million is enough.
yeah.
More books
Yeah.
that also talk about different perspectives of even specific times
Yeah.
that are referenced in the
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah.
See, it's not like you have to trust one thing
Yeah.
and negate the other.
Yeah,
The thing is, information is out there.
yeah,
When you're talking about history, if you really, 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 really want to know more about what happened before,
Yeah.
you cannot just dwell on one book
Yeah.
or like one reference.
Yeah.
Like reference has to have more. Like
Yeah.
you have to read more books
Yeah.
and more perspectives.
I
and
love
then
that.
from all the
Then-
perspectives, you come to your own judgment. And
Yes.
actually,
Thank you.
it's important because
When I started this,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that, C.
yeah.
When I started this, talking about history, was just to mellow us down first. We've just started discussion,
Yeah.
but I wanted to bring it up to a topic which is currently there,
Yeah.
and now make reference as to why I was attacking history and all
Yeah,
that.
but I love history. You have no idea.
So the reason why I was attacking history was
Yeah.
because we have we're not from the US, but everything is online nowadays. If you want to know what's happening in the US, you want to know what's happening anywhere in the world, it's just a click away. You have no excuse if you don't know anything. If you feel that you're deprived of information, that's your own fault. Listen, first and foremost, get a hobby. In that hobby, involve knowing some stuff. So the reason why I was talking about history and the relevancy of history is basically going back down to sort of like black oppression and why some certain people feel that Confederate monuments and statues represent their history.
Wow.
You get now?
Yeah, oh man,
I've come a long way. I've come a long way. I was chasing the dragon. It's called chasing the dragon
because you've set everyone up. Now they have to defend something.
Now you have to defend something. Now you have to defend your.
Very cool.
Yeah, you have to defend your initial point of view of how you looked at history, and then think of it. What are the consequences of learning the history which we've been taught? Now, one of the things which fascinated me most about this when I first thought of it. Usually, when I come to do one of these episodes, usually something which troubles me in a way. And if something troubles me, I don't look for a way around it. What I usually do, I go to the root cause.
Yeah.
And I try and challenge myself. Sometimes it gets boring and I just want to like do a blunt
very good
sleep.
problem solving method.
Yeah, like I want to like just like do a blunt and call it a night. But then the mere fact that I don't know keeps me up. So we have the debate currently going on, and all these Confederate statues and all these monuments which were put up by the Confederacy. Sort of like lemon. So what I was talking about, the whole reason why I started with history, that was just to throw you guys off the mark. And so I wanted to confront history in the sense that we have these groups, we have the Confederate monuments put up, and not only in the US. I'm now going to look at also monuments in Kenya and statues which are all over the world.
Yeah,
and try and think of it in this way. What are the... Let me open it for you. Finger at the back.
Finger your vibe. No, I'm sorry. I had to do it. You said it whispering, and then it was funny. I laughed in my head. And I had to laugh.
So you know, when we look at
the Confederate statues and
what
history,
we've been made to... What we've been made to believe, or what we've been institutionalized to believe as history, might not necessarily be the correct history or the right history.
Imagine, by the way, sorry. Imagine before I left, I was telling him he set us up. Are you listening to how he set us up? We had to defend our stance on history before. And then now he's asking us about something that is so sensitive right now. And then now you have to, like, it's intense. But it's really cool. Let me tell you about the statues. Let me tell you about the statues.
Like for you
I love history.
So you tell me something. I love history. And we're not just going to talk about the Confederate statues and
everything.
We're just going to...
There's a lot of vibe about it.
We're going to put things which have been put there in place. Kissing point, just before you...
Do you realize that we already had statues in Africa that were already existing, pre-colonial, that were stolen and taken taken to Europe as like museum
I'll give you like
rights.
Something which we have like a statue, which can be a good point of reference. Like the Nyayo Stadium, just a few kilometers away from us, like 5 maybe kilometers
Which
from where
statue on
there's
stadium? It's like 3.
It's not a statue. It's a monument. It's the room that Moi had.
Kanu.
And it's there. Not Uhuru Park. I'm talking about Nyayo Stadium. There's one big one there, and it's just the thing which looks.
It's like a pyramid, and then there's like the hand. It's after Uhuru Park.
No. I'm not talking about the one in Uhuru Park. Leave alone the one, I know the one you're talking about.
That looks like a
At
pyramid
Nyayo
with a canoe.
At Nyayo Stadium, there's just something which is a tower, then has a round
Oh yeah!
thing.
Oh yeah!
Yes. You've ever
Dude,
seen that?
I saw it Kitambo.
Yes.
I've not seen it lately. Maybe I've been ignoring it.
Yeah, you've seen it so many
Oh
times.
my
You don't-
God.
You don't even realize it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what's,
yeah.
what's its purpose?
What's the reference? Like,
What's
what
the
is
reference?
it doing in there?
At what point does
But you remember,
it become...
see, this is where history comes in.
Yeah,
Remember, at the time when it was put there,
yeah,
there was what you could probably define
yeah,
as dictatorship
yeah.
happening in the current
So it's
system.
a symbol of dictatorship.
It was a symbol of power.
It was a symbol of power.
To show muti,
Yeah.
munajua ni nani.
Yeah, niko na rungu.
Yeah,
Yes,
you know who it is.
Yes, exactly.
Now, it can't be torn down.
Yeah.
Even till today. Yeah. Even till today,
Yeah.
it can't be torn down because obviously, even from that time,
Yeah.
there's been systematic changes
Yeah,
where power
Yeah.
is still respected, even
Yeah.
if it was foul.
yeah,
Idi Amin Bana
Yeah.
still has a lot of reverence,
yeah,
not reference, like reverence in Uganda.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it.
yeah,
You get what I mean?
yeah,
Like even when you're watching like a documentary about the Kabakas, Idi
Yeah.
Amin is mentioned heavily.
yeah,
You get, and positively too,
Yeah.
a lot of times.
yeah,
And that guy wasn't a cool guy. You get
Yeah.
what I mean?
True.
But because of history is the only way you can also the planes. Because of history, it's the only way you can actually understand who this person completely 100% around was like, or even whatever level that you can get. You
Yeah.
understand? Whatever little level that you can get
Yeah.
from history,
Yeah.
you can try to understand why did he think like this? How comes a person
Yeah.
like this, who is this clearly,
Yeah.
demonstrably horrible,
yeah,
reach a level of such influence,
Yeah.
and it's on a massive scale?
yeah,
How is that possible? You get what I mean? Trying to understand even that psychic,
yeah,
who that person was, like 100%. Like I get the vibe, like yeah, true. You're supposed to like tear down those statues because
Yeah.
they represent something.
Yeah.
But they don't represent something. They're actually been erected because people are like that guy was different.
yeah,
That person was different.
yeah.
That's why that thing is there. You get what I mean?
Okay.
There is negatives to that person. I'm not defending slavery
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
First of all of those guys who are involved in slavery, including that George Washington guy who's
Yeah.
supposedly the father of democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it's supposed to be actually Aristotle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's Aristotle. You know, the free world was created by Aristotle because
Yeah.
he's the one who created the voting system and
Yeah.
represented. Yeah, but like if you look at the vibe, like the people who have erected that statue, they're not looking at it from one aspect.
Yeah.
You get? They're looking at it on like a general view of who that person was and what
Yeah.
they represented and how they
Yeah.
managed from nothing to be something. And you can realize that. Look at all those statues of all those people.
Yeah. So
Like, there are people
what you're
who,
saying
like-
is that what you're preaching,
Not preaching.
and I'm not following this religion, or what you're stating is that history helps makes us better in a way by learning.
Definitely.
By learning the shortcomings of previous generations and stuff like that, right?
No, it's not even the shortcomings.
Yeah.
Also the things that they did right.
Yeah.
Also the things that were ignored.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
Like, it's about exploration.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I can get a better understanding
Yeah.
of what's happening now, which will even give me a better understanding of what I'm supposed to do next.
Now tell me this. Me, you, Lemon went through the same education system, right?
Yes.
And since we're talking about history, when we were taught about history, at what point was the history that we were taught, or what point was the introduction point of history that you can remember? Now, it might be different for all of us, but at what point in time, what was the first thing you were taught about history, if you can remember back to
Where we
that?
came from.
What
Religion.
was it? It was religion.
The first thing.
Yeah,
religion.
the first thing for you was religion.
The first
how
thing
about
was
Lemon?
religion.
How about you?
Like where you came from as a people.
As a people?
Yeah, like the Bantus
Yeah.
and the whoever
Yeah.
came from this, and this.
Do you know the reason why I'm asking that is, and why I want to challenge your notion that history helps us learn. It's because there's a song of yours which you just played for me just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you made a reference to history which plays along into my topic. I'm sorry, I get my material from
It's
everywhere.
intense.
My material comes from every single place. So you said I don't joke unless joka joke, only
Yeah.
joka joke and all that.
Yeah.
Do you
Joko
know?
Luen,
Do you know
Joka
how?
Joke,
Do you know how?
Joko Win.
Yeah. Do you know how small of a history we were given about that?
Exactly.
According to the textbooks and everything. Yet, when it comes to the colonial aspect of history, we had
No,
chapters on
but this is
chapters
the
on
thing.
it.
This is the thing.
Do you feel that that's true or that's false? I
when
want you to defend
it's
that
being
first.
taught in school.
Yes. And this is.
But
remember
if-
what I started
yeah,
with. I started with
what's
like
being taught
what's
to
being
people
taught,
is
yes.
really limited.
Exactly. So you see,
Yeah.
when we say that learning history,
Yeah.
we have to look at the bigger picture, because I, as a proud Nilot, yeah, I deserve to know how Nilots have navigated the whole continent.
Yeah.
I deserve to know all that.
Yeah.
But this was really minimized such that what we were being told or what we were being taught as history, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Lemon just said that the first thing that she learned is where we came from and everything. But it was so summarized that what we got from it was just to know the names of what we were called before, nothing else.
Okay.
We like the culture is really sort of like rushed over, you know, like the people are not discussed, like we don't you know, like when they talk about butter trade and the port of Mombasa and
crazy.
how things were going on down there, they don't talk about how the Arabs had already come in there. They don't go into details, Caesar. That's a problem.
Let me come.
Yeah, they don't go into details. What is taught? I'm talking about what is taught. I'm not saying what actually.
But
if,
actually-
if you're a history buff,
Did you
get to that.
do history like in high school? I knew it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was an
Yeah,
elective.
I
It was
did-
an
I did
it was
history
like you
because-
can like choose to.
Yeah, I actually did history because one of the reasons why I did history was it was either I do history or I do art. Now,
Oh, I
As
did
far
both. As we did both. I think we were like in the same year, or like I was a year ahead of you.
yeah. So I chose history, and the reason why I chose history was because it's a story. If I'm
Yeah.
asked a question about a story, I don't have to be 100% right about the story.
Yeah,
If I
it's
give
your
any rendition of that story,
Actually,
it's
you're
valid.
wrong.
It is.
You're actually very wrong
I'm
because history is very specific. It's like there's definitely subjects in history that are like understanding vibe,
Yeah.
but it's not about opinion.
Yeah.
History is never about opinion.
Yeah.
It's about something that actually happened. Like
Yeah.
it's about fact.
No, but
you get what I
it's-
mean?
it's
Like
how- it's-
definitely. So
now,
like
now it's more like what am I sharing with you? You get?
yeah.
And it goes back to that. It goes back to that nitty-gritty for me, and that's my biggest challenge. So back to the topic where we were at,
Yeah,
and we were talking
for real.
about all these statues.
The
which-
statues though.
and statues like we have Tomboya. They put up people. Dedan Kimathi was given on Kimathi Street after decades. I think after he passed away, or if he's still alive, I'm sorry. I killed
Oh
you.
man, his head was cut off. Man, I
Oh,
don't
sorry.
think he's alive.
Sorry. I
They
tend.
buried his head. Is he? Maybe. You know, I don't think they had that much CGI then.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
so-
a head. That
so-
was a
so,
head. That was a head.
The way I look at it, and just talking in this troubling times and questionable times, whereby people decide what is appropriate history and what should
Oh.
be.
No.
You know, when you put up a statue or when you put up a monument,
Yeah.
it's sort of like immortalizing you're making it immortal, like it will always be there. it won't die. That ideology will always be there.
But you see, the thing, that's exactly what I said before.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking at it from one perspective, it'll definitely affect the whole judgment.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from everything,
yeah,
like from a broad aspect, where like you're looking at everything that this person actually lived for, you get.
But
imagine this.
Yeah.
Why are you a Christian?
I'm not a Christian.
No.
Sorry.
But why do you know more about the Bible more than you know about the Quran?
I only got one translation of the Quran. I think it was fake because I got it online.
But why though? Why do you know about the Bible more than the Quran?
I actually took it upon myself, and this was probably when I was just a teenager. I was, I think, 13 years old.
Yeah.
I had a lot of... I was a rebel by choice. And so one of the things which I did was...
that's true.
To try and find the truth in what I was being fed. And so there's one part of the Bible that didn't make sense to me and made me go out there and try
before
and crucify Christianity.
Before I get away from the point, remember I was making a point.
Okay,
You're definitely that's I know you from a long time ago, and I know you are not like normal. And normal is perspective wise, which I came to understand later, right? But a lot of people out there know more about the Bible more than the Quran because they were born in a family that already believed in the Bible. So understand, like, there's a lot of people also who, let's say George Washington, was born in a family that was already in the beliefs of slavery. He's born there. There's a lot of things that he did that were like, all men are created equal. That's a line from their declaration, right? And he was those guys, right? He was part of them, so like, you understand what I mean? But he was... you understand? Like, it's a system that you were in at the time. And then, because you were there at the time and you never did anything specifically, directly about that, it now clouds everything else that you did. Even if you thought about this in the long run, you're like, let me start here, because changing these people right now completely is impossible. But let me start here. But now, because you were there and you never did, you get what I mean? It needs like more intricate research and going deeper into it than just like being like, that guy had slaves. Take that fucking statue down.
No, for me it's simple. When it comes to that, the whole U.S. situation, I mean, I'm sorry to my listeners for me saying this. I'll say it maybe once or twice during this podcast. Hell, I'll say it a lot of times. I really don't care about controversies. I think that U.S. as a nation in itself is a failure, and it's an ideology.
Governance, you mean?
Yeah, it's an ideology which over
governance,
time,
not culture.
Yeah, it's an ideology which is based on fundamental lies, and the reason why they talk about make America great again, or America is the greatest country on earth, is justification that it's not. If it was, you didn't need to tell us. If it was, you wouldn't need to make it again. It's a misconception that we are fed every single, and they believe it, and they believe themselves. I'm proud to be American, man. I'm an American, but they don't understand that.
But they've seen it working.
But they don't understand what it took for them to be the Americans they claim to be. They did a lot of shady shit.
But how many army movies have you seen where the hero, all it needs for him to get up and then make that ultimate move that saves the whole story? he has to remind himself of how American and how we are so great,
and we have
we can do
justice
this
for all, and
you know that
we are a
thing.
free country.
And
you
see that thing? You see that thing?
Yeah, and we love hamburgers, and
they
we do
believe that.
Yeah, so
as much as it's like a mantra. It's like people who believe in like Buddhism.
Simple
Listen. You can say the same thing about Buddhism then.
Yeah.
Like it's a mantra. It's a mantra. It's a mantra. Like you repeat it, repeat it every day.
Yeah.
And you repeat it. Yeah. As you're doing your reading your Sudan, whatever it's called. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You repeat it on a daily till it becomes like a part of you.
Yeah.
And fruition, and then it will become reality.
Yeah.
You understand? Like you can say the same thing about Buddhism, because that's what they believe. That's how it is. Make America great again. We're American, man. We are Americans.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm American. I am an American.
By blood. And so one of the things which, just going back to the history and the statues that they want to take down, and they don't want to associate the now with what happened in the past. I think for me it's a positive move, because it's only by acknowledging that I'm an American is based on a lie by the statues you've erected. You get
it's a story.
It's that narrative is already a lie.
Exactly.
So
wonderful.
Yeah,
that is
spot on.
But actually, that's what I believe statues are there for. Yeah. For everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're for.
And therefore, like watching
for every statue.
Trevor Noah said something which I think was very, very enlightening. He said that, like, listen, history is history. We can't change history. It's happened. But if we selectively decide what part of history we want to put on a statue, why wouldn't you not put statues of time when mankind or when nations came together, yet we have this particular statues put in place for losers of the main agenda to push future generations ahead.
I like that. I like where you're going. And imagine,
you get that?
That's what exactly I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Like before the European invasion.
Yeah.
They're so insecure.
Occasion.
I think they're so insecure.
Yeah, cool. And that's it. And that's one of the things.
Yeah.
I was surprising that you said that. I was watching. There's a comic. I can't remember his name. He's a white guy. He's what they term as trailer trash. So he's a hillbilly comedian. And so. Sorry.
I like the hillbillies.
Yeah.
They're like in between. Like I like them. Like
Bilbao. If they didn't hate black people.
Bilbao, man.
If they just didn't hate black people, I'd be very easy with the hillbillies. I think they're just awesome. Like they don't give a fuck. Oh, well, apart from the incest
but they hate
part,
everyone.
Yeah, they hate everyone.
They hate everyone. But then the incest part is like kind of like
sort of like tells me like, you know what, don't fuck with those niggas.
Yeah. But imagine if you came. Imagine if you came on their level.
Yeah.
On their level.
Yeah.
Even if you were black, yellow, orange. It's charging.
So yeah, like we're talking about this whole thing, and you would think that it's something that we don't need to have a consensus about. There's some things which people say that we need to have dialogue. I'm thinking like, why do we need dialogue on something that is fundamentally flawed from the get-go?
That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
True. I love that because honestly speaking, dialogue can't come from a place where there's been systemic like action, like deliberate to
action.
Ensure that certain people do not do certain things that like on every level. That's like property, that's like civil, like just like a person who just walks around and tries to make a contract, criminal, a person who just like drives a car, like every level there's a systemic thing that has been done to ensure that there is a person who has a better advantage.
Yes.
That is nasty.
And then now you see another thing which is very, very back again to the US, because this is, anyway, it's the epicenter of all this discussion.
Yeah.
So, another thing which is that most of these statues were not put up during the times of these individuals who the statues represent. These statues were put years, decades later, after they had moved on. So what does that tell you about the people? Is this a people that tells you like, yeah, we are welcoming to the change, we want progress? No. You are stuck in the past.
No,
and
okay.
And whatever happened...
I'll still repeat what I say. Like, it's on a broad perspective. Probably the reason why the person who decided to do that knew other things about that person. And there's other reasons why that thing was erected. But honestly speaking, the person who's being represented there, if you are 80% good towards a cause, and then that 20% that's left is something that makes you look like you feel like you're a superior being, or like something on that level, you're 100% bad. You get what I mean?
True.
Just that 20, like, it's nothing. Like, you get what I mean? All the good that you've done definitely, literally just goes to show that it was probably on like an influenced level. If I missed, I don't know if I can't understand everybody. But what I do know, that if you are actually able to demonstrate that there's something that was not just right, then obviously everything else has to be negated.
I'll leave this, like always I tell guys, draw your own conclusion from it, have your own argument with yourself, and try and figure out what is what. I don't have the answers. What I have is a platform to be able to talk about stuff. And so you make your own choice when it comes to how you feel about history. But let the guiding fact be reality. Let reality be the guiding fact. If reality pushes you in a different direction, trust reality. It's way more credible than history itself. So I leave that one with you, and hopefully you can be able to digress on it and try and find out what really makes sense about it. But see, thank you for your input on that, man. And
cheers, man.
You're a history buff with law
like
and
history.
everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I personally, before we shut it down though, can we touch on influence on history and Kenyan politics?
Wow.
Or African politics? Let's not make it.
Oh my God. Even like, I don't even know how you chose that, but then again, you know. Even last week. Is it last week or this week? It's this week. It's so weird, right? Like, Uhuru Kenyatta fired a few people from, they're not even like members of the cabinet or anything. They're just representatives in the party who hold certain positions that people just like, usually like, they just assume them, you know? Replace them with people who were like Kanu people. Like, it's not like coincidence that all of them are from Kanu. Like, what are the odds, bro? Like, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? And then it's no coincidence that the people who they replaced were people who are affiliated to someone else. Who specifically probably being like, oh my God, it's nipoa lakini hiyo kitu happen ya kama boys wengi like
being replaced.
Yeah, bada. Elewa pia we ende ugadhe kiasi chenga nayo. You know, do a crossover or something, understand what's happening, demonstrate your power.
History is doomed to repeat itself.
Exactly. Exactly. But see, if anything in politics, history is definitely here today. Today, the first president of Kenya was called Jomo Muigai. Oh, Jomo Kenyatta, right? Jomo Kenyatta.
Yeah, Jomo.
Well, actually, his real name was like, man, his real name was printed on that book about the mountain. Something from Mount Kenya.
Mm. Yeah.
What was his name?
I can't remember.
Johnston. Johnston. He's called Johnston. First of all. Yeah. But he's Kenyatta.
Yeah.
The current fucking president.
Yeah.
He's called Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, man. Like, come on, man. Like, how is that not so obvious? You know what I mean? So, but it's cool though.
Yeah.
We have to understand that there's a way, even in Africa, why in Uganda, in a specific society, they respect the Buganda community and the Kabaka. Yeah. And the Kabaka still has reference. And these guys are not ready to be like, yo, man, we want to choose our own Kabaka. Like Kabaka, if he has sex with a woman today and a boy is born, and that boy, Kabaka be like, yo, that's the next Kabaka. That's going to be the Kabaka.
That's going to be the Kabaka. so let me ask you something, yeah? Since,
like, but what's wrong with that, though?
What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
I look at it from this perspective. And when we decide to... why history is doomed to repeat itself is because we invest too much in history. Instead of investing in what I call reality, the here and now, we try and think like the past, which is never going to be a progressive step. And the reason currently I'm against history, I've not always been against history, man. I loved history, like I told you, I studied stuff and all that. But I think like if anything that history has taught us is that we seem to go in
a revolving.
Yeah, we're just revolving around the same thing. Mm. But if history is not capable of getting us out of that spiral, then it plays no major part in our future existence or our future prosperities. And that's just the way I look at it. But anyway, enough about all that serious talk about all that. And
that was cool. That was cool. I like that you touched on topics that I actually am passionate about. I love it though. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
you're a very good host, man. For real though. Like, I didn't even know this is what you're gonna ask though.
I personally, I didn't know what I was gonna ask, but I knew.
Are you serious? That's cool.
I knew that when the conversation, when you set out on a conversation and you see other avenues of the conversation, and you can be able to tap into that and also bring it to light. It wasn't really the main focus when we started talking about history.
That's very true.
Yeah, but once we get to that point, then we know that this plays part into our politics. It all goes back to money and why man's greed is going to be the death of civilizations. Has been the death of civilizations. Will be the death of several civilizations to come.
But before then,
man, we're gonna be balling, man. Have me a beer, man.
Feel good, live life, accept what you are.
Yeah, but
do it because there's no one else who can, because you're you.
Yeah. So
specific.
Just back to that. What do you think was the most powerful, since you're a history buff, was the most powerful thing you got from ancient civilizations? Now I'm talking about the Egyptians, I'm talking about the pharaohs, I'm talking about what are these guys, the Aztec, we're talking about the Muchichupa. What are those guys called, man? Those guys in the Brazilian.
You're talking about Amazon,
yeah. Those guys, Muchupachus, what?
Yeah, the Aztecs.
Or
the Olmecs.
Yeah, and all those guys, those ancient civilizations. What do you think is one lesson, or what do you think is a major lesson that we would have taken from those civilizations, which were there when we thought there were no civilizations that existed?
Community works. For real though.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, community is everything.
Yeah. These dogs are...
Yeah, them dogs. Yeah. But like, if people were to realize that living together as a group and pursuing deeds as a group is way stronger than, I don't know, going on your social media and being an individual. But then again, even there's groups. But that's exactly what I know from history. Like, community is what built everything that we know as civilization.
You know, one of the things which I've learned from ancient civilizations, that some of the rights that we are fighting in our modern civilization were not even matters of concern in the ancient civilizations. They had women leaders everywhere. Yet now here we have parliaments which have to.
Man, I told you about it. It's that insecure vibe. I told you it's that insecure vibe. Remember those guys? Like, it has to go back there to those insecure guys who are like, you guys may discovered America. It's like that wasn't there before you came there. Like, you know, that's insecurity people, those guys. That it has to go there. Those are the people who made it like that. Because, man, I remember, even in history, even in Africa itself, there's stories about it. Even if you read the concubine banner, there's stories about it. Like, a woman could divorce a man and go and marry another man. But you know what I mean? Like they were the leaders. They were Kinjekitile, Wale.
Wait,
Maji Rebellion. You remember that shit? Like, she was the one who like ran that vibe in Tanzania. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like, definitely, that's some insecure male stereotypical vibe, and I don't want to go stereotypical about it. So, like, but what I believe is that it was definitely a level that had to make sure that a certain way of life is accepted all over the world. Like, if someone else tries to bring any other culture, it's evil. Even movies are made about that. Those movies are given billions to make that story be like that. Like, what? That culture evil. What? That guy is a bad guy.
And man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, there's so many examples I can just throw out your way. And you know, like for the ancient Egyptians, everyone was equal, and you were free. Marriage wasn't like an assigned task. When marriage became an assigned task, where we had the forced marriage, this was now just basically distribution of wealth. Not really about marriage. It's more about distribution of wealth and seeing how you can have the most amount of wealth. That's what I think about how marriage came to be. And
but there was a structure also that was like dependent on it, because survival was also dependent on, like,
but you didn't need to marry someone.
No, but you needed to make like a structure
in a society. You could just be in a society, and
she's
just generous and as idea nini. Well, listen, me, I like generous people. Yeah, I'm generous myself. You see,
generosity. No one likes an ungenerous person. Like, generous has to be a positive connotation.
Can I attack Christians just a bit here?
Go.
Did Jesus give any teachings about marriage?
No, man, but he talked about hoes.
He was at a wedding.
He really talked about hoes, man.
Hoes.
But then also he said that why would he be at the place where people are okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be there where people are not.
People are not okay. So for me, I think I don't know if the founder of Christianity himself, or he did, according to Da Vinci Code and stuff, he had kids at some point. But I
Christianity is Jesus Christ, like it's his name.
Yeah. And then, you know, one of the weirdest things which I read the other day, this actually made me laugh. like we use the term to 2020. We're in the year 2020. That's bullshit. We're not in the year 2020.
What year are we in?
Nobody fucking knows.
Oh, true.
Nobody fucking knows. And then it goes like
Mayans.
before Christ.
What's the clock?
Before Christ, they start counting it
ABC.
as BC, and it's not like at 10 years. Now it deducts.
See now, okay.
And
I
then,
like history, but then again, yes, that one is. It's a sensitive thing. Like it's like, what do you believe? Rather, like with regard to time. Because even Chinese, they have like their own New Year. Like
they have
the New Year is like
even Muslims.
Ethiopians. Is it Ethiopian? It's Ethiopians. Ethiopians. They have their own New Year. Like that's like now there. It's difficult, but definitely if you are definitely going to do
that's the way I look at it.
If you're also scientific, see, it's not just about religion, but if you're also scientific and you know about carbon dating, and you know actually Jesus Christ was an actual person who lived and died, right? And then his fossils were found, and they are there, they exist.
No, they don't. I think he ascended into heaven.
Okay. Come on. See, he was wrapped with
some cloth which they claim.
Yeah, that thing.
But then again, you know, it would be very, very easy for me to tell you that this here belongs
look
to
at this,
Unye.
look at this.
This belongs to Unye. This is what Unye used when he was a baby. It was his hanky.
But look at it this way. But because of also scientific verification and about carbon dating, like there is a way that they can tell, okay, at this time, because of predictions and, you know, all that vibe.
All I think is like
it can work. Like they can tell a certain time, but it's not precise.
But even
definitely, I don't think it's precise.
But even the scientists actually, by default, still use the Christian calendar. So
for sure, AD.
So it's those
because also
so
the Mayans.
I read this So the Mayans had their own calendar sort of,
which is supposed to have predicted the end of the world at 2012.
But could have also been lost in translation as to anything else.
Exactly.
So,
broken telephone.
So what we depict as them saying the end of the world probably could have been the beginning of something fantastic, or
what happened in 2012 that was fantastic though?
Shit.
I don't know, man.
I think
can I even remember what happened in 2012?
Man, I was partying like crazy, man.
That is definitely true.
It was a party, man. It was party after party after party, man. It was living life, man. It was waiting for it to end, and it was like
12. Oh my God, the most amazing thing probably that happened in 2012 was like, like LeBron James or something.
I think for me it was very, very simple. I think that's when I was living with Edu, when we were housemates with Edu. That was towards
it's
end
exactly.
of 2012.
That's
what I'm talking about.
Goodness.
Party after party.
Oh my God.
Party after
I'm so
party.
sorry. Thank you, Jack.
The
most memorable moment that I have from 2012 is 31st December. And my brother right here next to me came with a toe.
Thank you, Supply. I forgot his name, by the way.
Oh man, the toe was good though.
The toe was good, man.
It was good.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break, man. And then we come back and we still kick it and see what we can do next.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, man. For
real.
real.
Polite.
It's been polite. This is Venez Radio, man.
Easy.
Deep talk with a six-pack. That's what we're all about, Put some liquor in it. The truth always comes out with liquor. You can't go wrong. So anybody who doesn't believe me, listen. If you have this friend, he's always dodgy and always doing this type of shit, invest in some alcohol. If he drinks, if he doesn't drink, you need new friends. Really. Listen, before we go, I don't trust niggas who don't drink. No, listen, you want to laugh?
It's not funny. Laugh. I know. That's why it's funny to me, because I relate.
These niggas who don't drink,
I know, man,
or don't use any form of drugs.
Like, come on, man. Like it's just
or
crazy.
Don't use any form of drugs, and they're always smiling with you, and you're in the club, and he has.
It ain't funny.
Sort of, apart from Drew, Drew is my boy. Big up, Drew. What up? Cabonyo. Yeah. Grew up with Drew. Drew introduced me to most of the drugs that I currently use.
Me too.
Yeah. So, and when I talk about drugs, I'm not talking about anything illegal. So don't get it twisted. So, he introduced me to some of the drugs that, just like kawaida stuff,
Let's do it.
And he doesn't
talk about the place. What's it called? That place called, oh man, this is so hard. They're red in color.
Oh, like, the Giza.
Yeah.
I remember back in my day what he introduced me was Giza.
Yeah.
And so Drew is one of these guys. He doesn't drink, but he'll use Shamba. He's good. So then again, he's not an anti-druggie. I'm talking about these motherfuckers who walk into a club and they're gonna order club soda and act like they're having a good time with you, and you're fucking wasted. You've been drinking for 3 hours. You've been doing shots of every single thing. Yeah, this motherfucker here is trying to have a conversation. I'm like, motherfucker, go home where people are not drinking. I don't trust people who do not drink. Stay away from me. Stay away from me. Enjoy your life away from me.
It's cool, man.
I don't trust you guys. You guys might be working for the government and you're stealing information from me. Listen, I don't believe in conspiracies and all that, but fuck you if you don't do a drug or if you don't use stimulation. There was this guy, Cat Williams, and he said that and this is relevant in this time of Corona because he said that, like, listen, if you're in the house and you don't have a job and you don't know when your rent money is going to be checking in and you don't know how long you can survive in your situation, if you're not smoking weed, then I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't understand what you're doing with your life because listen, they can turn off the lights in your house, they can turn off the water, and you'll be like, fuck, I don't have electricity.
Just put a little fuck in it.
Just take a blunt. It's not harmful. It's just dried, naturally occurring, dry, naturally occurring plants that, should you so happen to set it on fire, it gives you one superpower, man. And the superpower that it gives you is fuck it.
Fuck it.
It's just that. Fuck it. Yeah, so... Yeah. Well, alcohol doesn't give you that, but
alcohol doesn't.
You know, like, for me, I always believe that drugs and alcohol, people, it affects people in different ways. And for me, especially, if I was to be, let's say if I started drinking and I was doing like hard liquor, probably some whiskey. Chances of me to transaction from that whiskey into a beer, first and foremost, is going to be very, very difficult because beer has a different high ratio as opposed to the whiskey and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah, so when you try and mix it up, that's why you end up puking. That's why you passed out.
That's
why you missed out on a lot because you're not using the drugs how they're supposed to be used.
You have to know
Use them the right way. You'll be okay, my nigga. Anyway, so we're taking a small break. We'll be right back with more deep talk and a six-pack. Just chilling, having a conversation with the homie. And thank you guys for listening, man. It wouldn't be much of a show if I didn't have an audience that I could trust to not take me out of context, and that I can trust to judge me if they want to, and that I can trust not to judge me because they don't have to. Very simple rules. So we'll see you shortly.
Easy.
Polite. Does that make sense?
It's
what I just
crazy.
Said? What I just said?
I don't know, man. You went poetic, but...
Yeah?
Yo, man, you went poetic, but...
I went poetic on that shit.
Yo.